Morning, welcome back. Wednesday morning, Mooloolaba Beach. Thanks for being here.
Yes, the beach is over there somewhere. We're in the garden. Good morning. So, rewards and punishments. Ready? So, my dear child, if you do this, you'll get that.
If you do this, you'll get that.
We'll do it again, seeing someone's come on. If you do this, you'll get that.
If you do this, you'll get that. What's the difference?
What is the difference? There's not really any difference.
Give the example of at dinner time. Eat your veggies, get dessert.
Yeah. So if you do your homework, if you eat your veggies, if you do your homework, I'll come outside and play with you for half an hour.
Or if you don't eat your veggies and you don't do your homework, you can go to your room.
So is there really any difference?
They look quite similar, don't they?
Yes, and we've shared a little section out of an amazing piece of, or an article, but Alfie Kohn is somebody I followed for many years, and he's written lots of books about rewards and punishment. He's a big advocate for intrinsic motivation. And what is the difference between intrinsic motivation and what we just demonstrated?
It's a really big topic, but I recall, and we'll post the full link so that you can read that full article. We've put a bit of the excerpt below, but I also recall reading about a study done in the US on high school children in a low socioeconomic area where they were paying them $50 a week to do their homework, to do their schoolwork. And in the beginning, it worked and kids did it and they received the money, but it just didn't last. It only lasted a couple of months, and because there is no intrinsic motivation there.
Yeah, it's like some of the mums talk to us about how, and Dr. Vanessa Lapointe, in one of the interviews she's done that we've shared in this group, talks about how fathers often see how punishment really does work. And she agrees, it totally does work, but the same as what Joe's saying with the rewards, it works in the short term. It gets great results in the short term, in the very, very short term. But what about the long term?
Yeah, what about when we're adults and we're turning up to those courses, seminars, and all about abundance and have the life that you want to have? And
as an adult,
as an adult, what's the first question? And I know I certainly struggled with this when I started to look at what I really wanted in my life, and that question: what do you want? What do you desire in your life? And we've given up on our own internal guidance system that we have inside us, but we're taught to give it up to please someone, something outside of ourselves at a very young age.
Yeah, I mean, it starts so young, because just when mum gives you a happy face, or mum isn't quite as upset as she was yesterday, we're learning to adjust and change ourselves to make the other people in our lives happy, which shows how important it is to be a healthy adult in your child's life, and to use some of the other tools that we teach to help let go of some of your own emotional pain and your own stuff, so you can come more from that creative win-win is what we're always talking about. And Alfie has this tiny little sentence in that article that we've posted a bit out of, and the sentence is work with your child. And it seems like that can't be that hard, can it? But when you've come from the rewards and punishment system your whole life, most of us spent 6 years, 12 years in school, it can seem like a weird thing to not use rewards and punishments and to work with your child. And in this group, we come from the belief system that your child is a divine, incredible being that has their own internal guidance system. Now, there are some schools of thought out there that a child is. Really, that's not the case. So it's always good to ask what people actually believe about children. Some people believe that they do need to be moulded. They're there to be moulded. We don't subscribe to that here. But so the child, if you can work with them and ask them questions, like for example, when I was doing maths and because I unschooled my children, if they asked me, like I did sometimes, because I'd get like, oh my God, I need to know maths. So we'd sit down and do these worksheets, maths worksheets, and they'd say, Mum, and they'd be like, and I probably was a bit like that too, but they go, Mum, it's just so boring. Now, I know that unfortunately, in a system, you're often not allowed to be truthful if you think it's boring too, because it kind of has to get done. But I used to agree with my kids, and I was the kid at school who was the teacher's nightmare, because I was always saying, how does this help me in my life? Why do I need this? And I've always been somebody who questions nearly anything that's been put in front of me. But
I'm the quiet kid, the academic one, the ideal student. And then I'm the adult who goes into a family business, not really asking myself if I'm interested in it. And now I know that that industry I'm not interested in at all. But here I am in my 30s, 40s, now I'm in my 50s, asking myself, what do I want to do? What lights me up inside? What's fun for me? What do I really want to do in life? There's got to be more to life than this. Course after course after course after course. Asking me, Joe, what do you desire in life? How would you like your life to look? And can you tell me? Can you tell me? Can someone tell me? We recently interviewed Chilla, who's really big in the homeschooling space. And she was very, very academic at school and went on to uni and studied maths and physics and did really, really well. And grew
up in early life in a communist country where, not just your parents are telling you what to do, but the government is telling you what to do, and you need to comply. If they tell you to go out and you have to be in the square on a certain day, you go there. Even if you don't want to go there, you just go.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, thank you, because that makes this end of it more powerful. When she's finished her degree and whatnot, and decides she wants to run some yoga classes, and she's just making a flyer, but there's no one to mark it, to give her an A for it, and she's confused. What do I do now?
Yeah, and you've talked about that too, how that was difficult for you at uni, when you were at uni. At
uni, I'm getting HDs in the beginning. Finding out what they want from me and giving it to them to get the mark. Not necessarily learning for my own desire. Intrinsic motivation. It's more to get the mark, get the piece of paper, so that I can go and be an accountant, which I later realised I didn't really want to be.
And I'm just thinking of my own kids after growing up in this kind of environment where I suppose in an academic way especially, I was working so much more with them, and they do seem to now be quite good at saying, this is what I want to do with my life, and they started quite young, knowing what they were interested in, and knowing. So Alfie talks about in that article the three things that you need to be able to have intrinsic motivation in your life, and there's always some kind of structure, I suppose. Because one of the things is choice, and to provide every single choice that a child could ever want is not always easy, because as I'm watching here, we've got people living in outback Queensland, we've got some people living in Germany. We've got some people living in suburban Australia, as I do, and my kids grew up on a farm, but it's only within the structure of your environment that you, although with the internet now, I was thinking, oh my God, it's amazing really these days the amount of choice you have as far as what you can learn. And so it really is an amazing world that we're living in now as far as choice goes. But you are also, there's always that structure around you, I suppose. But the main thing is that you're working with the child around the choice. That's the important thing. And the second thing he says the 3 C's. The second thing, which we have, this is why we have our group, is community. And he's also saying that, like, praise is one thing, but it's not, it's very different from encouragement and love. And often to be encouraged in what is already internally motivating for you is a really good thing. So there's a real difference there, and I would say the big difference is that if it gets to control, where I want you to do it so I'm happy, or I want you to do it so I don't know, you can get the gold star or whatever. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense to me. It kind of makes a little bit of sense that if the family's happy, everybody, happy wife, happy life.
Happy teacher. In his example, he talks about the little girl sitting up straight in the classroom. Yeah,
so make the teacher's life happy. I mean, I kind of get that, but just making ourselves happy because we get gold stars, it's like, I can so see how that just eventually dies, because we're humans. So community and how is this important to me? How is this going to create a better world for me and for everybody else? When we take in the best interest of ourselves, we take in the best interest of other people just naturally. And then so there was choice, and then of course content. That was what made me think of the internet. And that goes back to my maths sheet. Like when the kids are actually, that's just boring, that particular maths sheet. Although my son, being a tennis player, he was so interested in the point system in tennis and it's quite intricate, the point system and how you get points and in computer games and all those things. So the learning of maths then had a basis for his own intrinsic motivation, and he and also like playing card games. He likes to win.
I actually remember sitting with my son not so long ago, and I'm not very fast typing on the laptop, and he's chatting away to me, and he's talking like like my mother and her generation used to learn at school how to touch type, and I'm like, you can type really fast, really well without even looking at the keys. And he went, yeah, I learned it in, I think it was Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yes. When you got to be looking at the screen and playing and
Yeah. And I think that when there's lots of like money involved, not that these are bad things, if that they're still, but when they're not intrinsically linked to who we really want to show up in the world authentically, and our own values. Like, so much of life goes back to values, and that's why it is one of the modules in our parenting course, because if you aren't living by your own values, then everything else will go to shit, basically.
And the really interesting thing around the values, because we do it early, the module early in the course, but we suggest that you do it again at the end of the course, because we may think, and this happened for me, that I thought my values were a certain way, but when I cleared up some of my unserving beliefs, my conditioning, my programming, I recognised that the values I thought were mine weren't really mine.
Because some of the values have come out of this system of going like, I'll get punished if I don't do this, or I'll get rewarded because I do this. And so we're continually chasing things outside of ourselves, or running away from things outside of ourselves because we're scared we'll get rejected or we'll get punished in some way. It's a really, really amazing topic to dive deeper into. I recommend the work of Alfie Kohn. He's got a whole book called Rewards and Punishments, and he's a researcher too, so he goes into so many studies that have been done about this, even paying people twice as much money, like the $50 one. They've paid employees in companies lots and lots more money to do the same work, and it's never resulted in a better outcome for the company. And yet things like better community, more choices, because we're human, we do actually, and I believe this so truly of children, that they really are intrinsically motivated to make the world a better place, to find their place in the world, to create things that are in the best interest of other human beings,
and to be kind to one another and collaborate.
Yes,
rather than compete.
Yeah, totally. And even in competition, if they are doing competition, it's because of the mastery of the skill. Like my son loves to master tennis, so he's actually so thankful for a good opponent. Like that's the healthy side of competition. So it's a really, really awesome topic, and
it's a huge topic.
Love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yes.
If you've had any experience with rewards and punishments yourself, what have you experienced?
And how it's played out in your adult life.
Yes. Did it really help, do you think?
Yeah. And we'll pop the link to that article below, and also pop it in the file section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
So thanks again for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And big topic. If you have any questions, ask away below.
Yes. Love to answer those.
Yeah. Have a wonderful week.
See ya. See you next week. Bye.